Hi everyone and welcome back to the Madden God. I'm Max, your host, and I'm joined here today by the amazing, wonderful, the stellar, the one and only Roxanne. Roxy, how are you?
Wonderful, Max. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
And welcome to all the listeners who are tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to the Madden God. And today, Max, where are we going?
Today we're going into, the wheel. So, which is, we're going into the way we communicate, the way we clarify what we are expecting, wanting, what we are here, and we say, well, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to do. This kind of things. So that communication to the wheel. However, the question here, or what I'm now perceiving with myself, is how clear am I? How am I able to clearly say to my will, this is where I want to go. This is what I need. This is what I want. And I realized that my clarity is very bad. I've realized, look at me, I'm not clear. And what do I mean when I say I'm not clear? Because that doesn't really explain what is clarity. Well, what do you mean with being clear? Well, it means, for instance, right, when I left my job, or I lost my job, and then I've been working on building my presence, building a work on with the healing, with Reiki, and with the support, teaching, coaching, whatever. But for a long time, my intention has always been to go in that direction. That's what I prefer. But for a long time, what I was doing, I was also being opposing. I don't want to do what I was doing before. And I was doing that in the opposition. So you see, right, one point that is very important here to understand is the point of view of the creator, right? I, the creator, is unconditional. So from the point of view of the unconditional, well, creation, reality, well, there you go. It's done. It's right. We attract, we do what we are doing. So when I'm posturing myself into lack, the creator is just saying, oh, lack. Good. Understood. You got luck, right? So from my point of view, I'm saying, no, I'm clear. Look, I'm just telling you I want to do that. And the creator said, yeah, but you're telling me at the same time, you're telling me that you don't want that because you hate that, and you're still keeping yourself attached to that you don't want. So I don't know. What do you really want? You're not clear here. So I keep myself in that I am expressing. So what you put out, it's what you get. Where I'm putting out lack, so I get lack. But that is because I, the human, am not able to be clear. To be clear with my will, with my intention, with what. And so the creator is just there. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Or even today, I realized, right? Roxy is having a coming together, so classes and bringing people to San Antonio. So I want to go, but I realized today my communication was absolutely not good, because I said, yeah, I want to go, but I want to go, yeah, I have the money, but I want new money. I was something. I don't want to that. So give me other money. So right, I was doing that, and then today I realized, you don't need to be that specific. That's not clarity. That's just luck. What you do is that you are there. And so you communicate that I am there. So in San Antonio, that's all you do. What happens in between, so the money, buying the ticket, then flying there, that is the manifestation. That is when you go into having the experience. But that is the part where you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do absolutely anything. You do not try to project, to visualize, or anything of how the experience is. Why? Because as soon as you enter into that, what are you doing? You are creating. So you are already creating the moment. You are creating the moment. So you are creating it. So that experience is done. So that's also realize you're a creator, not part-time. You're a creator full-time, all the time. So when you posture yourself into creating, which is what you do when you are fantasizing anything, right? Thinking about anything, you're creating. You're not fantasizing, you are creating. So when you do that, you are creating your experience. So then it's done. You had it. Next. And all of this, I was seeing that. I was realizing that, right? So yes, I've done that. So I've been not clear with myself, with my will, on these things, on what I wanted. Because when and money is one of the things that is very triggering for us, because, money is something that we so desperately need, but also something that, if we are honest with ourselves, we are not really lacking, because we generally, and I'm speaking from this point of view, from what we are expressing right here, right now, but money is abundant, or at least we always have what we need to pay our bills, to pay our food, to pay what we need to pay in the moment, right? So when I focus on the money in any enterprise I want to do, and I put myself on, right, on anything that I want to go. If I focus myself on the money, what I'm doing is that I'm focusing on the lack. But we have, and this is so human, right? It's so easy for us to do that, because we are coming from lack, and we are now learning not to keep ourselves in those behaviors, not to keep ourselves in those patterns that we used to have. And me realizing all of this is part of what? Is part of me discovering, is part of me saying, oh, I've been doing that. Now I can choose differently. Now I see it, so that I'm able to say, okay, I'll change the way I relate to things. Another thing that we've been talking with Roxy is we want to buy a house, a property. And that is another thing, right? And I realized, with the house, I've been much more clever lately than I've been with other aspects, because I've been able to simply project house. But I also realized, well, I have to change even there. I will just slightly change the way I communicate, in the sense that I'm feeling the house. I'm saying I have the house, right? Not in and with no projection, with no visualization, with no localization. I'm not localizing it, right? I'm doing nothing with it except feeling it in the moment, because that is what it is. Do I have a house? Yes, I do have a house. It's not right now here when I'm the apartment I'm inhabiting is not that. It doesn't matter. It's not about getting into any specific, right? I do not need specifics. I simply am saying, I know that that is real. So that is real. How do I get there? It's not important right now. What is important is to feel my abundance, to feel my potentials, right? So that in that instant, I become what? I become clear with my will. I say, yes, that's it. That's what I want, right? That changes completely my relationship, because I realize, look at me. I've been doing all this work until now, and these things are not new. We have already talked about this hundreds of times, I think. Billions of times we have been talking about will, about how to manifest. All right, we've done this. But my take on it has been, oh, look, lack. I've been lackful because my mind, my human mind, receives the potential, sees the potential. I go into action, I do this action, and then though I say, it's not going to work. No one is going to see this. So I put myself into the lack. So I'm communicating what? To my will, I'm just saying, you say, lack. And the will says, lack? Perfect. There you go. You want it? You got it. And I was doing that. And it's so easy for me to do that. I see that. I realize it. I understand. It's very easy because what? Because that's what I've been doing all my life. But I'm not here to repeat ad eternum what I've been used to do. I'm here to discover. I'm here to evolve. So I'm here to change what I can change, because once I see my behavior, once I know myself, then I have the opportunity to change. So now, right, I have the realization. I've been going into that and discovering it, so that now I say, okay, right, I see, I've been doing that. That's lack. I recognize it. Another thing that I've recognized, though, too, because then the other attraction, the other thing that is so easy to do is to crash on me and say, oh, I've done it wrong. Oh, I was so stupid. Oh, look at me. So dumb that this we've done so many times. And now I'm even able to understand it and still doing it wrong, right? That's so easy to do that. But I've chosen not to. Because I know that whatever I have been doing, that has been done in those moments. Now is a different moment. And now I can choose differently, so that my attraction, what I will attract through a more mindful communication with my will, then that is open. That is not destroyed by anything that I've done in the past. Right? It's not, we are not condemning ourselves because, oh, I said that so lackful yesterday, so now, oh, I'm condemned. It's done. Right? No, it's not like that. I choose differently, so my attraction, my communication, my will is taking in every moment what we are expressing, what we are vibrating, what we give, what we put out. And every moment is free of any other moment. It's the moment of the now. You see, that's why when we talk about destiny, or that when we talk about anything that is set in stone, it's like this. There is no change. It's always like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't express anything, because our freedom, our ability to create in the moment, it's fully and completely free. We are always able to create from anew in every moment. And this is 100%. In the next moment, I can change completely my reality. That's a potential. It's a potential that exists. Completely and without any attachment to the past, right? So that is something that is available for us to explore. Doesn't mean that we need complete change. Doesn't mean that we do not need. It just is a potential. Understand the potential. Everything is potential. So there you go. This is what my last few days have been made of. Discovery, exploration, and understanding, and getting into myself and giving myself the ability to choose to be more clear. And I am fully aware and I know fully that I'm not going to go from 0 to 100,000 in just like that. I know I have to be kind with myself, to be accepting, and to allow then myself to get to that expression that I think that I can have, that it's there, that's available for me. But my habits are still there. That way of doing, I can still feel that right behind there, just like that. But now I know, and knowing it is that I'm not choosing it. And when I realize that, oh, I may still there, oh, that's luck, I just accept it. I will not get into fighting against this, because I know I can choose differently. And I know that I can see it, that I can see myself, I can catch myself in the in my habits, in expressing those things, right? So that then I can choose differently. And this is for all of us there. So Roxy, what do you think?
On the idea of clarity, if we think in terms of disciplining the mind, exactly. It's not, and it's not disciplining like you discipline a child to stop making something wrong and getting the behavior to change. That's insane discipline. That's horrible discipline. Discipline as in the idea of a discipleship. So my discipleship is to ascend, and it's taught me many things. My mind is the remnants of my separation experience, my memory, my algorithms, my current truths. So if I want something, my mind will say how, when, and what about. And it'll decorate this reality with the processes in order to achieve, and also the ideas about the negatives that can possibly happen or something like that. And that, of course, exposes your own bullshit. So like in your case, Max, if you have the abundance right now to come and to the United States and see me and, fly, get on a plane, fly, stay, and do that. If you have the means to do that, then you've already fulfilled the idea. Now it becomes choice. And of course, it might expose to you your lack about, if I use that money, then this won't happen. And that's vibrating lack. So either you can make the choice of lackful, or you can make the choice of you're joyful and choose what you will, and then take a chance to see if vibration really works, to not take that money and then have a loss because you used it for this, and then there's a void in your future about how you're going to maintain your lifestyle. You can't look at that way, because that's lackful. That's the mind dictating the behavior. So when I want to be clear about something, I am clear about it, and my mind wants to know how. That's where my discipleship comes in and says, you know what? Allow the mind. I look at it like this. Maybe this will help. I look at my thoughts as I'm sitting on a porch in my backyard, on my back balcony, my deck, whatever you call it, a covered patio. I have my drink. It's a nice afternoon, and I have dogs. So I replace my dogs with thoughts, and I watch them run around in the backyard and play. But I'm observing them. So I observe my thoughts that run around in my mind that want my attention to tell me, here's why you can't have that, or here's what you must do in order to achieve that. And that is the reckoning that returns on the idea of what humanity has set as standards that we all bought into. Every fucking human bought into the standards that they coveted in their own individual world. According to their culture, their parents, their upbringing, their religions, all that stuff is the way you decorate your reality experience with those manifested truths. So you manifest these truths of lack, you manifest these truths of hope, and you experience these emotions as a human. Phenomenal. So you wake up, you recognize that, and then you say, no, not today. So my next clarity for me was, let's say I wanted a house. Well, first I wanted people to come to my workshop. I wanted that. So I put the energy into the workshop that I really wanted to experience the workshop. My will was pumping into the workshop. My truth was pumping into the workshop. Hey, guess what? Let's do it. Let's teach. Let's go. I'm telling, I want the workshop. And that's it. And that's it. And that is fucking it. Now, that's not going to make sense to anybody. That doesn't make sense to anybody. What makes sense to most humans, right, is that, okay, so how do we do that? We have to advertise it. We have to talk about it. We have to promote it. We have to get all of that happens in the nature of the now. That's the issue with humanity, is they're controlling about how to manifest and expectations of manifestors, the processes of manifestation, and taking that achievement or that reality that's out there in time and bringing it toward you and bringing it to you. And the thing is you can't bullshit yourself about this. The one thing you gotta be is be fucking honest. Your mind has a whole bunch of ideas what you want, but 99% of those is not what you want. It's what the ego wants because they're going to satisfy an emotional relationship. And that's the only thing the ego does, is give you emotional identities, whether it's a victim, whether it's a hero, whether it's suffering, whether it's successful, whether it's anything. You find your way through reality by experiencing your emotions, and it keeps you well fed, fat, and happy as the emotional fractal. So what do we do different? We don't play the fractal part. We don't go in. We don't appetite ourselves or choose to dine on that buffet of life. What we do is use the discipleship of awareness, trust, and choice. So when now I got this, my workshop didn't manifest last year because I was half-ass about it. I wasn't real about it because I had a relationship with that was lackful about it. Then I had to reevaluate myself, which exposed, of course, a lot of my own ideas about myself that were no longer useful to me, no longer my truth. So it was time to transcend those. So I transcended those belief systems that were conditioned and move on to a better self of me, a whole self of me, a more loving, complete, awesome blossom me that chooses the truth of me while I'm learning really where I want to dictate my reality. Where do I want to put my energy? Because I'm a creator, and I'm telling you, you put your right shit into the will, you're going to get your will, and it will answer 100% no matter what. So then I reassessed my relationship with the workshop, and I had to find a different self about that relationship. And now, of course, the workshop is happening. Everything is in place. I don't have to do anything. What I did is, when it made blatantly obviously from last year to this year, was taking the steps that showed up in the now. I don't work in time, I work in the now. So that's how it manifested for me. And now my other idea was like, me and Tommy, we're ready to move into a house. And that's all I've done. And then one process comes in and says, here's your next step on moving into your house, because I live in time. I'm in a space-time continuum. I can't manifest it fast, and I don't want to manifest it fast. Why? Because I've done that. I manifest it all the time. My entire fucking billions of years of I am, I know how to manifest instantly. Now I'm experiencing this reality, so I'm going to be honest and explore what it is. I'm not going to lack. I can't have the house tomorrow. I can't have my $1 million tomorrow. I can't. That's just lackful. That's your vibration. That's what you're feeding. One moment to the next, as Max has said, one moment to the next. It doesn't matter. They don't connect. So 1 minute you're awesome. Next minute you're lackful. 1 minute you're awesome. Next minute you're lackful. That's it. So you're not tying one moment into the next. What you're doing is receiving your reflection immediately. So, and I live in time, so I'm putting the value of my worthiness to own a house in this idea, this exploration. So here comes my house. Step 1 came, step 2 came, and we're just keep doing all those things. And that's it. That's all you do. But you have to be clear. Don't let your mind take your attention, and then you start feeling the emotions about what's not or what you need. Then you're energizing that now and that reality. That's what's happening. So that's why the discipleship is so important. That's why the work it takes of recognition and transcendence, humility, trust, everything into place to return yourself to a creator and a manifester of life, an explorer of things. The individual discovering itself. Fuck the outside. Fuck the world. Stop letting your mind lead you. Start creating your life as you see fit. And what's really fascinating about this is once you feel your creative power, and I'm never going to equate that to you. I can't give you that equum in words. That has to be experienced personally. When you really know how to create, which I do. I've done it twice. Masterful creators. And there are some things you can manifest pretty quickly, okay? A matter of minutes or hours. So, but they're the value that equals with the person that I am now, with the creator that I am now. But when I got that knowing I'm a creator. What became clear to me is truly what I want to create now. Before, I was creating out of ideas that were human, not even recognizing them. I didn't even think about the possibilities beyond human. But now I'm not trying to go beyond human, what my mind says, not in the human relationship we're talking about, in a different, not the human objects, the human relationship. You start to find a pursuit of self that has nothing to do with objectivity, externalisms, ideas about the future. A creative self comes into the moment, and it works in a mysterious little world that doesn't objectify items. I objectified my house. That's not wrong. That's a way to create, and now what it is. But there's other parts of how to create. So it also gave me an idea. I want to explore this feeling. I don't want to explore this object. I want to explore this feeling of creating, of this idea of will, and explore that. Start to learn the vibrational feelings of creation, the language of the now, the language that your reality speaks. Explore that. Put your will into that, and the mirror will give you those realizations, those epiphanies, those understandings, without education, without externalism, without someone else telling you what's right and wrong. So the work to get up to this kind of mastery is you got to lose that fucking bullshit mind of yours, because it's leading you down the road of humanity, continuing to be your human lackful self, using emotions as your truth, creating emotional realities, sustaining your emotional self. You go beyond emotions, you go beyond polarity, and then you return to reality without the emotional leads. Do you still feel things? Of course. We see the ego mind is an absenteeism mechanism. Without A, you must have B. If you don't have A and you don't have B, then you can't have anything. That means there's nothing there. So to go beyond emotions, that means there's an absenteeism. So your mind is going to sell you, no way, that can't exist. You have to feel. You do feel, but you don't feel the emotional relationship. You'll discover that, but that is unequatable again through the words. This is the work that a master does in its own kingdom to enlighten himself. The tools are there in place. So the idea and the evolution part is to be clear on what you really want. And you don't have to know everything. What you can do is pick something. I'm very clear on what I want today. I want I think I want a Hershey bar. Let me get a Hershey bar. Nice chocolate Hershey bar, right? Oh, bullshit. Let me get a little bit better. I'm worth a Lindt chocolate. Yeah. Milk chocolate with hazelnut. That's what I'm worth today. So if I put that idea and will it, one way or the other, a Lindt chocolate candy bar is going to appear in my life. Now, see, that's not a big deal. I can go to the store and buy one right fucking now. I can manifest it that way. That's the permission slip. That's the easy way to do it. That's not wrong, is it? Because you actually manifested, however you got to the store, you manifested the store when it's there, and you manifested the candy being in stock on the shelf, and you manifested money to swipe it and take it home and eat it. You see, all that is manifestation already happened. But see, that's the easy way. That's already built in. But that is creation happening. So why can't it be easy in the idea of without the details? So what happens if it is that you all of a sudden, you end up at a store never thinking about the chocolate bar again, and there's a chocolate bar at the counter at the checkout saying on sale, and you go, oh, look, there's my candy bar. I'm going to buy it. And you buy it. See, that's another way to manifest. So what you can't do is expect. But it doesn't mean your neighbor doesn't knock on the door and says, hey, I got some extra candy bars. Here you go. It doesn't mean that either. See, what you can't do is expect how it's going to be. You can't. Because there's always a potential of of greater than what you can imagine, greater what you can think of. So I have a house in my mind. I know the preferences of my house. I understand my truth about the relationship with the house. I understand, do I want a 1-story or a 2-story? Does it have to have carpet or no carpet? I hate carpet. Carpet sucks. But I'm not going to say, I don't want a house with carpet because I'm putting bullshit into it. See, I accept one thing and one thing only. The house is going to manifest in the exact vibration of my truth. I already know my truths. I don't need to tell the mirror my truths because I am my truths. So the house will manifest in the perfect neighborhood, in the perfect place, at the perfect price, in the perfect idea, and I don't have to do a fucking thing. The only thing I do is take the steps when they show up, when they become blatantly obvious. Oh, here's the next step. And that's it. That's how I manifest. And it works. It works. It works.
Yeah.
But you must be clear.
Yeah.
You must be void of all of your interaction mind emotions, and that seeps into your vibration, and that muddles your own reality. It sends all these signals of bullshit into your world.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Absolutely. What I've started to, what I'm doing is I'm watching videos I've been watching videos of very expensive properties, houses. Very beautiful, very expensive, is very exclusive neighborhoods, or New York or Bel Air. That gives me, and now I'm learning with that to watch, to see what that is, to see the vibration, to see the abundance, but also I see a very huge, big living room, and I say, that's great, but feels empty, right? It's so big that it really feels empty. Or I see this huge brick property, and I say, "Well, it's amazing. It's a very well. I love it, but where to, right? And how am I going to inhabit such a property?"
Hang on. Time. Let me point something out. Just because you have a big property, and just because there's only 2, how are you going to inhabit it? It doesn't matter.
That's where I was going. Yeah.
Make sure that you know that fucking doesn't know. Okay, if you were going there. And
I was
honest,
going there. Yes.
All right, go ahead.
That's exactly what I realized after having that thought. I realized, but it doesn't really matter, because yes, we're 2, but remember that they have a function, these big properties. And so someone that has the means of buying such a property, they're not just 2. They have people with them, other people inhabiting the place, because they need support, right? They need people to work in the property, to all of that. So I was reducing myself into my apartment now. This is so much smaller. So this looks like a certain way. So when I'm making bigger, I don't know how to do that, right? So I was projecting the now into that, which doesn't work. So that huge big property as a potential, then if that is manifested, well, there is all the story. There is all that is with it, that goes with it. It's not just that, is right. So I don't need to go into details. That we're only 2 in a so huge property, that's going into the detail. So I'm going into the limitation. So I'm limiting it. So what I'm really doing is that I'm saying I'm not worth it. So I just honesty. Okay. So that is how I'm learning, how I'm giving myself the opportunity to discover, to see what sits, what I prefer. Prefer, meaning, oh yeah, I prefer to have garden, right? I express that preferring, but if what matches me is an apartment, it's an apartment. There will not be a garden, but there may be a balcony, a huge balcony where I can put greens, right? Trees and anything. So it may, if I see, I prefer a garden, it doesn't mean that it's going to be an outside garden. It may be a garden in a balcony, right? So, as Roxy was saying, is that you can have your what you prefer. You can express that, but don't go into details. Don't go into picturing it. Don't go into holding it, because you are limiting it. And the way it's manifested, it's probably certainly not being the way you may have it in your head. And the potentials, when you imagine one thing or when you prefer one thing, the potential of manifesting that things is in many ways. There is not just one way to, right? As the example of the garden, it can be anything else. You can want a swimming pool, right? But it may be that the swimming pool is not on your property. So it can be, if you're in an apartment, well, the apartment building may have a swimming pool, right? There you go, right? Many ways of manifesting what you prefer. So the thing is to learn to keep it open, to not put yourself into limitation, because the limitation is going to limit what? To limit your potentials. Because once you limit your potentials, then, well, you're in limitation, you're in luck, you're in not good enough for this, not good enough for that. So that then, well, that's what you put out. So that's what you get. And for me, that's something that I'm now really learning and observing with me, and learning and catching myself. Because again, as I said before, it's so easy. It's really, and to be honest, it's very easy to get into that. And again, just because that's what I knew, that's what I've been growing up with. So the idea of now being here and saying, oh, my potentials are limitless. I have literally no limits. Well, it's not easy to get into the no limits, because it's so scary and so different from I'm limited, or I can't do it, I'm not worth that. That's so easy, because that's so human, so has been there all the time. So yeah, I'm seeing that and choosing differently. And I know that choosing differently, I have to allow, as Roxy was saying before, I have to allow time. I have to accept and admit and allow and surrender to the fact that Now I'm seeing it. Now I'm changing my relationship with it. And I cannot have expectations of an outcome attached to that. I have to allow time. It's going to take time. Because I know that changing my behavior, changing the way I relate to all of that, I know it's going to change my reality. I know that. I know. But where then I become, let's say, weak is that I can put in there expectation that I have to have in straight away. I want a result. I want to see it immediately, right? I can do that. And then it doesn't happen because I'm not allowing time. I'm not recognizing the fact that in this reality, we play with time. Time is a factor. So then I get angry because I'm not seeing the results, and then I get even more angry because I see myself not allowing time and having expectations. So I am putting myself into a lot of emotional breakdown because I'm failing, where I'm not failing, but I have to recognize what I'm doing. I have to recognize that changing all of this is work. It takes work, so it takes time. So again, I have to be kind with myself. I have to allow myself to go through the experience. And then when it's a match, well, the manifestation happens. It's there, it happens. It cannot be in any other way. But what that is, I cannot have an idea of what that manifestation is. How am I going to manifest the change into my reality? I cannot know it because that is known when it's happening, when the moment is there. And that's work.
The thing is about creation, you got to understand we, by nature, what we are. If you really look how creation is set up, the now is always your new self. So if we're always new, then we must be always looking for the change, the explorer. So if you're here to explore this reality, then explore it. But that takes a shift of positioning. You have to change your approach to this reality. If you use the approach of emotions, then you will get the emotional exploration. And what you get is the experience of emotion. I mean, you get to live and understand the depth of joy, happiness, sadness, suffering, sorrow, gleeful, hopeful, needful, wantful. You get to get all of that as an explorer. But then when you see this, when you recognize this, and you understand that the work itself is exploration, it's not leading to an outcome, then it becomes easier to focus in the moment because your mind isn't directed on when's this going to end? When is my transfiguration of my emotional stances going to end? It doesn't, because you're not expecting it to. So you don't even have that question in your mind. What you're doing is exploring what you have available every moment. And that itself is another discipline, another way to take the mind and stay the fuck out of time. What the hell is in time? Nothing is in time because time isn't there. Time is now created. The life is now created. So when you start seeing all I'm doing is having a conversation in my mind about all these things, but really what I'm doing is having an emotional experience in my now. Then it says, you know what, I can make a different way here. I can create a different life because I can put different energies into my nows. I can focus on different things. So I want to explore this reality. I want to see the potential of me, not with intent, not with need, not with an outcome, with what I'm available right now. And then there's this tiny little fucking obscure little self that says, good, now let's fuck it up and have some fun. So you can start to be who you want to be as the nature of yourself, not who you want to be for everybody else, for the mirror, for your own ego, for your family, for your work, for your ideas of maintaining your visual presence as an image to the human world. Look at that freedom. Imagine yourself the only one left on the planet. Everything else is there. The Walmarts are there. Grocery stores are there. The automobile dealerships. The gas stations are open. But there's no one running anything. So you have to do everything by yourself. You have to do everything by yourself. You know? The ships are there. You can go to Europe. You ever been to Europe? Living in America? I've been there. I've been to Europe. I love it. It's a gorgeous fucking country. Been to Germany. Gorgeous fucking country. Been to Italy. Gorgeous. So now that I'm the only one on the planet, what's stopping me? What the fuck is stopping me? I have everything to get there. So maybe here I'm in Texas and I want to get over there. I don't know how to fly a plane. I don't know if I can get on and fly my own airplane. I probably need a co-pilot. Maybe I can't get there by flying a plane. My mind says, how am I going to get to Europe? How am I going to get to Germany? How am I going to get to Italy? I want to go skiing in Caprone again. Caprone, Italy. How am I going to get there? Well, I can take a ship. Okay, I can take a ship. Now I can probably handle a ship. Then I start to process it. But the other way is I don't care how I get there. I'll just find myself there. One day I'll look up and I said, oh, here I am. I'm in Germany. I'm on top of the Zugspitze, looking down on Garmisch. Right? See, the journey is not about a destination. The journey is what's available now. So there's no doubt if I was the only one on earth and I had all my resources available to me in the now, all of the abundance would be there. Everything would be there. Everything would be there. The food, the automobiles. So maybe the idea is, you know what? I feel like driving today. And I look up and I'm driving and I see a road and I said, let's go that way. And then about 2 days later, I stayed in a couple hotels. There was hotels along the way. There was food there. Everything I needed was along the way. I find myself on a port over in Chesapeake Bay, Virginia. And then I see a ship. It's like, let me get on that ship. I'm going to get on that ship. Right? So I hop on that. Maybe it's a sailboat. Maybe it's a two-masted schooner. I would know how to sail that ship right then and there. I would know exactly what to do. See, I'm not going to judge my journey and expect it to be. I'm going to explore what it is to drive the car on my way through Louisiana. I'm going to explore Louisiana while I'm there, and I'm going to stop where I'm going to stop. And I'm going to maybe go up to Texarkana. Maybe I'll go that way. Maybe I'll go Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South, North, Virginia. Maybe I'll go, the Carolinas I was talking. Maybe I'll go that way. But I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. Because I'm not manifesting the future. I'm manifesting the nows. And if my vibration is to the truest self I am now, how the fuck could I fail? Because what you put out is what you get back. If I'm putting out my worthy, oh, look the fuck out. Because here I come, creating my world. So I would start off, I was like, I got everything I need. I feel like getting up and going today. I wake up, say, oh, feels like I need to pack. I pack. It's blatantly obvious. Little voice says, Roxanne, pack the clothes. Roxanne, walk over there. There's a dealership on there. Pick yourself out a nice SUV. My world. See, the only thing that's standing me in between how that's going to happen is my brain, my memories, my expectation, my beliefs, my truths about reality through the idea of my coveting lackful self. And I'll get the fuck in my way. Oh, I might be able to go to Europe with people, tickets, airplanes, pilots, money. I can get there that way. But if I don't do that, and I pay attention to my exploratory now, I'll find myself in Europe. I guarantee you that. It's that easy. But we're explorers of the now, not explorers of time. So Max, if you true in your heart of hearts want to come here and experience and teach with me in this idea of a workshop, then say yes to it and get the fuck out of your way. And when the time comes and you know it's your truth, choose it, despite what your fears say. Otherwise, you will never know your truth. You will always know the truth of your fears. Truth of the fractal. I love it. That's how I imagine my world. I'm the only one here. Because I am. Everything else is a reality reflected through consciousness. And my senses, my interpretation, my mind gives me images of my Tommy Jean, an entity sitting 3 feet away from me. And I wake up every morning next to him in bed. It's part of my life, part of my experience. He's there. Of course he's there. But he's there in his own world. Fantastic. So just think about that, guys. Let that stew a little bit. Oh, look at that. Almost time.
Yeah.
What do you think, Max? Good stuff?
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No.
So be real clear with it.
We've been
Be
clear.
real clear with it. Always recognize your mind selling you a story. Every day, you are either getting sold by your mind or you're selling your mind your truth. And eventually, your mind's going to stop wanting to buy from you because it's not getting what it wants. And then you start manifesting through your own vibrational will exactly what you are. Like Max says, the garden in the house, apartment, or whatever. The house that's going to show up is going to match Max's vibration. Period. The house that shows up for me, my vibration. Period. That's why I explore now and make damn sure I'm putting my truth into every now. And when I discover truths that are no longer, I don't continue them. I use the undiscovered truth. I choose to change because I'm not afraid of my own world. I'm not afraid of me. I trust. I trust I am. Right? Booyah.
All right. So
I think that's it, Max.
yeah.
So let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Where can they find you, Max?
You can find me on breakfastwithmax.com. YouTube is Breakfast with Max as well. And you can also send us messages, questions, comments on the Budding Gods podcast at gmail.com. And where can we find you, Roxy?
You can find me at Odyssey of Ascension. That's ODYSSEY of, like OF, Ascension, ASCENSION.com, and also on YouTube. The website has the information on the workshop. We still have about 13 days before it's going to start, actually 14 days before we start. So there is room left. If you guys are interested, you can email me. My information is right there on my website under workshop upcoming workshop. And that's it. So I want to thank everyone for being the badass.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.